Hello. Welcome to another episode of Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. And it is, as always, great to see and have you here just joining us and really showing that you are serious about your relationships. You're serious about the relationship you have with yourself, with your spouse, and with those around you. We are unique couples, and I am all excited about our guests for this evening. So you know the drill. If you are here with us live, go ahead, hashtag live squad in the chat. If you are catching the replay, hashtag replay. Let us know where you're watching from. So we want to get some marriage ages in here. Let us know how long you've been married. Put it in the comment, put it in the chat, okay? When we're talking about today how my marriage impacts, how my career impacts my marriage. And I am excited about our special guest, Shannon Russell, who is a career coach, entrepreneur, and so much more. And she will be sharing with us today. So go ahead, invite someone. Remember to subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Let someone know we are on live today because guess what? At one point or another, um, you might have realized that the thing that you love, maybe, the career or the work that you do or this pursuit of what you're doing to make money can begin to hurt those around you. And you're trying to figure out what do you do when you're just advancing in your career, but your loved ones are suffering. And then there's the case of what if your career just isn't bringing you the joy that you once received from it? We are going to tackle those questions and more during this episode. So be sure to tune in, go and invite someone. Let's see who is with us. And then, of course, if you want to change careers, you want to move from a particular career and move into something else to create a better lifestyle for you and your family, I'm sure you want to know what steps you need to take. So we'll hear from Shannon Russell as she shares on her experiences. And before she does that, before I forget, we have something amazing coming up. It is our Being Me Women's Conference that is coming up on September 27th. If you want to wake up excited about your love life, love yourself first, allow yourself to be loved and love like you've never been hurt, then you need to be a part of this. The link is in the comments. Go ahead and register to be a part of this session. And of course, if you want to overcome the negative beliefs holding you hostage from showing up as your best self, then you definitely want to join us for that session. Being Me Conference Women, it is all for you. So join us for that. Link is in the description. Go ahead and register to be a part of that. Okay, so if you have questions during the show, go ahead and type them in the comments. We want to hear from you. And if we don't get to address them during the live, we will come back in the comments and answer your questions. So, hello, Shannon. How are you?
Wonderful, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yes, yeah, that I usually say excitement is my middle name, but
Yeah.
I'm excited as well. Thank you so much joining us all the way from New Jersey, right?
Right.
Yes, yeah. So go ahead, Shannon. Let our audience know a little about who you are because I know you have an amazing story to share. And of course, some of your background, the work that you did before you made your career shift.
Sure. So I started out my career in television. I was a television producer for about 16 years. I met my husband there producing. We produced at the same company. And then we were out in Los Angeles. And then we had our first son. And then we ended up moving back to the East Coast and being closer to my family and working in Manhattan. So we were both producing for many years. And then I decided to switch and figure something out because we were both traveling and working crazy hours, and we had our second son. So now we have two little ones under the age of 3, and we're both commuting 2 hours each way and working and traveling. So I decided that it was enough for me and I needed to find something new. So I did a bunch of different things trying to figure it out, made a lot of wrong moves, but ended up purchasing a franchise. And I became an entrepreneur and owning my own business. And now I've been in business with that business for about 6 years. And then just within this past year, I decided to launch Second Act Success, which is my second company, where I am a career coach and I'm helping other women try to figure out their next act and how to pivot to that, because it's definitely not an easy thing, but it's very rewarding, and for me has been incredible.
Definitely, definitely. So this is something that is really personal to you. I'm hearing you talk about, both you and your husband, this, high-powered career, both of you commuting, traveling, and you have small kids. Like, I don't do that much commuting, and having small kids and doing everything, it is a lot. So what was that like for you, as a wife in this relationship and trying to do everything? And then, of course, you have your little ones to look after and take care of. I know this is personal. This topic is really personal for you. So give us an insight on what that was like for you in your relationship.
Sure. So when we had my first son, like I said, we were living in Los Angeles and we didn't have much family around. My family's all on the East Coast. And so it was very, very lonely. I had postpartum depression and I felt like I couldn't go back to TV and I just needed family. I needed support. So we up and moved to the East Coast, had my family nearby, which was and still is absolutely amazing. And so that really helped a lot. But it was a lot of firsts for my husband, who's from the West Coast. So it was just a lot of us first moving in with my parents, trying to figure out how to find a house and make our new careers work in New York City and find daycare and, just a lot of juggling for a while. And it was just a lot. We were about 2 hours away from Manhattan with like door to door. So it was a lot to get into the city, do our jobs, which is usually very long hours, and then get back in time to pick up from daycare. So we depended a lot on my parents and family to help us, which was also stressful because we didn't come to be a burden on anyone else. We just wanted family around. So it was a lot of us figuring things out for some time. We eventually very soon got a home and everything, we started getting more of a routine. But it was when I got pregnant with my second son that things started shifting within me, of just knowing that that commute was too much. There were times where I was stuck in the city and my son was sick at daycare and I knew it would take 2 hours to get him. So it
Wow.
was just the stress of leaving and the stress of trying to get home and just feeling like I couldn't control everything. And the job, my dream job, being a television producer and getting to work with celebrities and just do really cool things, it wasn't
Mhm.
as exciting to me anymore. I felt an interpersonal shift that, my priorities were now becoming the family and not the career. And when I was realizing that, my husband very much was not. So he still
Okay.
is a television producer. He loves it. And I think he puts a lot of his identity on that career. But for me, I was able to check the box and say, hey, I did it. And I'm proud of myself for that part of my career. But I want to try something new that is going to allow me to be closer to my kids and be a more well balanced mom that I wanted to be.
Yeah, that is. I like how you said check the boxes. Sometimes we think that, this has to be it. The whatever it is that we're in, we're thinking this is it and this is the rest of my life. But we can make shifts. We can
Yes.
make changes, and that is definitely good to know. So,
Mhm.
I know you talk about relating to other women and helping them with their career shifts. What issues have you noticed reoccurring as reasons why women or couples may decide to change their careers? Like, what are some of the reasons they decide to, what, I'm leaving this and I'm doing something else?
I work with a lot of women who are kind of our age with young kids and kind of feel like, okay, my career is wonderful. And now I have these kids and I have school and after school activities, and all of this just doesn't play as nicely with that career. So it's a lot of people just realizing, uh-oh, I don't know if I can do this and raise kids and do this, until retirement. And I think COVID helped a lot with people kind of reprioritizing things and thinking, well, we get one life. So let's make sure that we're happy doing what we're doing day in and day out. Um, and then, so people are interested, but they don't know how to make that shift. And so I had really a lot of people, even my customers at my current franchise that I own as well, coming to me saying, well, I don't understand. How did you go from being a television producer to owning a franchise business? Like, how did you do that? And I finally was like, well, let me start teaching people how I did it and the things that I did wrong along the way and how it's benefited my family and myself. And like you said, I checked the box, but guess what? There's so much more to me, as
Mm.
there is you and everyone out there to discover, and just step out of your comfort zone just a little bit and let yourself explore whatever that thing is that you've been kind of thinking about in the back of your head.
Yes, definitely. Just want to say shout out to all of our viewers. Special shout out to Stephanie Burrows, Gio Hutchison. Thanks for joining us, Kathy, Julie, and the rest of you who are here live with us. Go ahead and say hello, Live Squad, in the comments so we can see you and hear from you. So go ahead and share with us. And remember, if you have any questions for Shannon, go ahead and type them in the um, chat so we can get to those. Okay, so let us know, how has it been for you? Let us know your careers. Type those in the chat. What do you do for a living? Let us know, because we know, yeah, sometimes we wake up and we just don't want to go and do those activities. And
Oh.
based on what we're doing in our life and dealing with kids or family, it could make it a little challenging. So, Shannon, as it relates to women and making these career changes, what should a woman take in consideration when deciding on a career change?
I always say your non negotiables. So when I'm sitting with clients or even with friends and I'm saying, okay, well, what are your non negotiables? If you're going to make a shift that is sometimes a big shift in your career, or to start a business or to go back to school for a new degree, you want to know what your priorities are and what your non negotiables are. Do you need to be out of your job by the time the kids get out of school? Do you need weekends free? Kind of make a list of those non-negotiables, because you don't wanna make a shift and have the same issue happen again, that you might not be as happy or you're feeling underappreciated. So kind of make that list so when you're going into that next career opportunity or life, transition, that you are checking those boxes to know that that is going to be something that can fulfill you in the with those, priorities that you're interested in.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So, I know you said your husband is still, he's still with his original career,
Mhm.
and you shifted, you went into having your franchise, and now you started another business. How has that been with, like, how did he take that? How is he adjusting? What was his reaction for the first one, and then now moving into the second career?
I think with the first one, when I said I was leaving TV, he understood. TV is a really exciting industry, but it's all very what we call freelance. So you go from one project to the other. So there's not a lot of stability in it. And with two people in that industry, it was always a little risky. When I decided that I wanted to change, he was very supportive. I actually took a 9 to 5 job in my town and was going to school at night because I thought I wanted to be a teacher. So I was going to graduate school and he was supportive of that. And then I said, well, you know what? I can't do this 9 to 5 job. This is horrible to me. It was not a fit for my personality. So I had this epiphany that I needed to start my own business. And he knows that I'm a little crazy and I'm very adventurous and I'm like very outgoing and just let's jump and let's see what happens. But he was great. He came with me to meet the CEO of the franchise that I bought into. He was happy, and I think seeing that I was able to now be there for the kids all the time, I could be a class parent, I could pick them up, just how it benefited our lifestyle as a family, has been amazing. So he was very supportive of that throughout the years. Then recently, within this past year, when I decided to start Second Act Success, he was a little bit more hesitant of like, how is this going to monetize? How are we going to do this? Because I started it off as a podcast, sharing inspirational stories of other women who have changed careers. And so it did sort of start off as like a fun little hobby. But then I started having people really asking me to help them. So I got certified as a career coach and, started getting clients. And now he's more open to it. I think he just always thinks I spread myself too thin, but
Mm.
I just call that ambition and and wanting to show my kids that you can do a bunch of things and be happy at the same time and provide for the family.
Yeah, I think that is probably a whole lot of us as women. We definitely take a whole lot more and do spread ourselves thin. But I think when we are loving what we do and we're excited about it, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like, it's a burden. But I think when
No.
it gets to the point when, okay, it's too much, it's overwhelming, it's taken away from family time, it's taken away from couples time, then of
Mhm.
course we will see, problems with that. So how do you make sure that you keep it balanced in your marriage with now these two businesses and you still have your small kids?
I know, it's definitely a struggle, and we talk about it all the time of just, and like you said, when you love what you do, you can see yourself on the couch, just on the computer because you're on social media, especially as a business owner, right? You're always trying to contact people, you don't want people to wait on you, and sometimes he'll just look at me and I'm like, "Okay, closing the laptop," and so it's something I'm working on all the time too, and it's funny, Linda, because my kids think of it as more of a hobby. They
Hmm.
know both of my companies that it's, like, fun and I enjoy going because I'm very big on making sure that they don't grow up hating the idea of work, like, I just want them to know that work is fun if you're doing something that you love, and so, when he looks at me sometimes, I'll say, "Dad, mommy's not working, she's doing her podcast," or, "She's talking," so they think it's just fun. Which is cute, but then I have to also say no. Instead of sitting on the couch on my laptop doing emails, let's make it a family movie night. So even today it was, oh, I have so much work I should be doing on this Sunday, but it was like, okay, let's go outside and we decorated for Halloween and we went out for lunch, so just making sure that family time comes first. And that's one of the beautiful things about being a business owner is that it can wait. Nothing is as important as family, and just it's a constant reminder, I think, for all of us.
Definitely, definitely. And that is definitely something we preach in our Unique Couples Marriage Club. That is something that we talk about and preach and let people know that hey, you have to make time, you have to prioritize your marriage, you have to make time for that, and family, because the kids are involved as well. Because if you don't do the balance, if you don't balance correctly, they will be left out, and that is definitely going to impact your relationship. So you want to definitely make sure. So today we did a beach day. It probably wasn't a good idea for today, considering everything else, but it just felt good. We just did that for an hour or two, and the kids enjoyed it. Okay, it left me really tired
Right.
myself. But sometimes you have to just put yourself in a position to be there for the kids and just leave everything else
Right.
aside. And having the career that allows you to do that and to be flexible. So I think earlier you mentioned, some people might decide to change careers, but then they didn't set their boundaries. They didn't set, what it is they wanted in this particular career, because then you could find yourself doing the same, repeating the same mistakes, working on the weekends, working late into the night, being exhausted, being tired, and not making time for family, which kind of like defeats the whole purpose of the change in the first place.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. So, when we look at generally, how does careers impact marriage? When we look at that question generally, what would you say? How does careers impact marriages?
I think it's all about respect and understanding because if you think about it, you're in your job, whatever it is that you're doing all day long. So when it comes to, say, dinner time, you sit down and that's what you want to talk about when you're finally together over the dinner table. And there's been times, even in our marriage, where he'll say, "Oh, it's all you talk about." And then I'm thinking the same thing about what he's saying. So I feel like sometimes it's a matter of sharing enough to share and have the conversation, but then I don't know. I think it's important, and you probably discuss this a lot too, Linda, is
Mhm.
that, you need to find things outside of the kids, outside of the house, outside of your career to talk about, whether it's a TV show that you watch together or something that you're looking forward to, a vacation, just other topics to talk about that isn't always work focused too, because then you can start to resent the other person's work in a sense, like, so it's a lot of, I think, understanding, respecting it, and then knowing when to pull it back in and change topics if especially if you 2 have different careers where you're not as interested in it. At least
Mhm.
I'm interested in my husband's because we had the same career for so long, um, and he's somewhat interested in what I'm doing now, but, I don't if I kept talking about it constantly, I feel like I would lose him, so bring up what I can.
Listen, and that is definitely an issue. That is definitely an issue because, we can go on and on and on as women, and, we're so passionate about what we do, and we just want our spouse to be involved.
Yeah,
And that could be, not necessarily a conversation we need to have round the clock. And
right.
another thing that we, of course, promote and encourage couples to do, whether you're recently married, married for 10, 20 years, even going on your 50th, and that is having those weekly date nights, just finding ways, like you said, to connect outside of the kids. So it's
Yeah.
not conversation related to the kids, it's not conversation related to roles and responsibilities or even work. It's just the two of you discussing and talking and having fun and enjoying each other's presence. And that's something that I think all marriages should make sure. That's like a secret key ingredient that definitely needs to be a part of relationships. So, any advice? What advice would you give women who are looking to change careers? Of course, there some of them are hesitant, scared, unsure. But what would you recommend? What advice would you give women who are trying to um, or thinking about changing their careers?
Right, and especially, like, we're talking about marriages too. A lot of, not a lot, but I've had clients who have said, "You know what? My husband's just not supportive, so I don't think I can do it." So, along those lines, I think what you can do, you have that list of non-negotiables that we talked about earlier, and start doing your research because everyone wants to just walk into the office one day and quit and storm out like you see on TV and movies. But really, you can start researching that second act now while you're in your 9 to 5, while you're where you are, and start researching. So if you're thinking you might want to go back to school to get a nursing degree, start looking at programs, start figuring out cost, start talking to other students in the program. You can do informational interviews really at any job, career, school, just to get some more information than maybe that you can get online. So now you're researching, and maybe you're researching enough where you can cross that off and say, okay, that's not what I want to do anymore. But you're doing the research before you're making the leap.
Mhm.
Maybe if you're in a marriage and your husband or spouse is not supportive, you can have all this information laid out, do all the research, and then go and do your pitch, because you don't want to not do something because someone else isn't supportive, but you want to ask for the support and show how you are so into this and this isn't just a willy-nilly idea.
Mhm.
And I think by doing your research, talking to other people, networking to see, hey, who do I know in this field that I can just have a cup of coffee with or a quick phone call to kind of find out how they did it. Do your research first, and I think you'll have a nice pitch for yourself, and you'll have more confidence moving forward as well.
Definitely. So, ladies, and of course, men too, because yeah, we know men don't really do as much change as it relates to careers and stuff. But um, for any one of you who are thinking about changing your careers, then definitely you would want to have that conversation, like Shannon said, with your spouse. But do your research, right? Do your research. Don't just come like pie in the sky and not really sure about where you're going or the direction you're taking it. But do your research, because even in doing the research, you might find that, hey, maybe this is not really what I want to do. This was,
Yes.
some idea. It sounded good, but it isn't what I want to do. But doing the research will definitely help you with that. And it's kind of like knowing yourself and knowing what you want to do, and just having those lists of just knowing who you are and what you want to accomplish will definitely help you. Yes, I see Julie said awesome, and Gia said great advice. Yes. Remember, put your questions in the chat if you have any questions for Shannon, and we'll be sure to try to get to them during this conversation. And I just want to remind you again, for all of you ladies, and definitely go and share our Being Me conference, which is going to be held. We are actually 9 days away, September 27th. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have not registered as yet, go ahead and register. The link is in the comments. Go ahead and register for the Being Me conference. You do not want to miss out on that conference. It is all about learning to love yourself first, allow yourself to be loved, love like you've never been hurt, and overcome all of the negative beliefs holding you hostage from showing up as your best self, or even trying to go and change careers or do something more for, you know, yourself and your family. Okay, so go ahead and register for the Being Me conference, and just it's like show up as you. Show up as you. And then for all of our married ladies, go ahead, and men, join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Okay, go ahead and join us for that. Um, and take your marriage to the next level, because like we said, what the things that you do as an individual will impact your marriage. Something as huge as changing careers will impact your relationship, and you need the support, you need the information, the guidance, you need to just be in that supportive community. And that is what Unique Couples is all about, offering you motivation, inspiration, and transformation for your marriage. We have our weekly date night ideas, monthly group date nights, and we have our guest speakers in. We have our quickies every twice a month, actually. Yeah, twice bi-weekly quickies, where we have those conversation daily. So we have about 10 of those for the month. And of course, our Manage Your Marriage Mondays with Vito and Linda, where you can go ahead and ask your questions. So a whole lot is happening in the Marriage Club. You want to go ahead, register, and join us for that. Okay, so Shannon, any final words? And before you do that, tell our viewing audience how they can get in touch with you on social media. I know some people are thinking about changing careers, are interested in, shifting. Let them know how they can reach out to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm at Second Act Success pretty much everywhere. So on Instagram, it's Second Act Success. On Facebook, it's secondactsuccess.co. And our website is secondactsuccess.co. We have a podcast too that's everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Second Act Success. And I also have a course coming out in October that is kind of giving you a roadmap to get to your second act. So if you're thinking about it, these are the tools that you'll need to kind of make those first steps. So everything's on the website.
Okay, awesome. So you heard that, Second Act Success, Facebook. Go ahead and connect with Shannon on all of those different platforms. And let's see. Yes, go ahead and connect with her, and definitely look at making the changes that you want for your life, for your family, to improve your relationships, and definitely to improve you and who you show up as for yourself first, right? We are so thankful for all of our sponsors who made this show possible. So special shout out goes to Hair to Please, The Nail Creation Lab by Anna, Party with Serenity, Style Me Pretty, Cornerstone Insurance, Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith, Total Grace Solutions with Thaddeus and Amanda, Alouette Designs, and K4 Podcast. Thank you all so much for being a part of the Unique Couples team, just being a support, and for definitely going ahead and allowing us to showcase your businesses. So, and if any one of you also need to, hey, let us shout you out, go ahead and contact us and let us know, and we'll be sure to appreciate and show some love to you here right on our Unique Couples broadcast. So, Shannon, any final words as we wrap up this conversation this evening on second act success, on how your career has impacted your marriage?
I would just advise to have that communication, to know, that if you are planning a second act, you do your research, you have a good, I call it pitch, to your spouse about what you want to do and how it will benefit the family as a whole. Sometimes when you make a second act, you might not have the income to financially help your family right off the bat. But if you are confident, I think having that communication and confidence, and having that spousal support is what you really need to let you grow and see what happens.
Definitely, definitely. Awesome. So you heard it, ladies. You heard it, gents. Go ahead. Make sure that you are having that conversation with your spouse. Um, and if you need help making sure that happens, go ahead, connect with us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. And then connect with us also for one-on-one coaching, marriage coaching. We offer that service as well. And our course. So we have a course coming up. It is the Marriage of Your Dreams course. You don't want to miss out on that. Those of you who did not get a chance to join us for the Marriage of Your Dreams course, go ahead and register to join us and connect with us as you grow your relationship. This is, oh, and definitely subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel. Okay, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being a part of the show this evening. We will definitely be hearing more from you as we connect in more ways. And to all of you, we are definitely building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. Thank you so much for joining. And remember to share, 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 and go ahead and be who you need to be in your relationship as you connect with your spouse. Love you all. Bye.